Waters.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
O'Kane.
Here.
Shaner.
Here.
Scott.
Here, please stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today we'll start with the consent agenda. We do have an interview. I apologize. Parking and Skywalk System Board of Trustees, Reagan Cody.
Hello, Reagan Cody with Downtown Partners.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Parking and Skywalk Board.
How many times have you served?
Since 2010, so that would be 5 terms. There's
And
the
it's just
position
so
I'm looking for.
exciting. You just can't wait to
I know.
keep
I was like, what do you
going.
want to know about Parking and Skywalk Board?
Is the downtown partner have an automatic seat on this? I don't know.
We're listed
Yes.
as a seat.
Yes.
Well,
do.
I mean, it's.
So
The
you're-
organ.
you're looking at it.
Yeah,
The what? The organization does.
it's a membership requirement.
Yeah. Okay. Questions?
What's on the horizon for them?
Well, what do you want on the horizon? We just put in some lights. I'd love to see that continue and see if that works out. They're in the bridge over Nebraska Street right now between 4th, right at 4th. So if you wanted to see those. Any other projects, things like that, the board has been really good about, kind of listening to some of my crazy ideas too. But we do get a lot of feedback from downtown businesses and property owners. So that's a great place to be able to voice that and kind of gather collaboration for certain things that you guys might want to see as well.
Good to hear that you're collaborating
Yeah.
with the stakeholders downtown.
Absolutely.
Very positive.
Absolutely. Okay.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
The lights underneath the Skywalk are nice, but is there any way to run a foot of lights in the bottom steel there along the actual roadway you'd see them more often from a distance?
I think I know where you're going with that question. I was trying to get more kind of visibility by going inside the Skywalk to see if you could see it from the interstate. It didn't glow as much as I think I had hoped it to in my mind, but maybe more of a downlighting or an uplighting could work a little bit better from.
Oh, I just thought if you
far
ran
below.
some road, I mean, the lights you got, if you could just run them, because the steel beam that holds it up is about like that on each side, the whole
Oh,
distance.
sure.
Because they're kind of recessed.
Yes,
Yeah,
because they're
not talking about inside.
they're adhered to the complete bottom, which there's a lip, is what you're talking about, like when you're going through and you can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought if they were on the outside, you'd see them as you were driving up the
Oh.
street more often.
Yeah.
Maybe we could look at adding that to what's there.
Sure. I can talk to Holiday Chair installed those for us.
Good idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to the consent agenda 3 through 11C today. Consider items to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is requested by a city council member. Anybody wishing to speak on an agenda item may come to the podium at the time the item is being discussed. Anybody wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. Remember to always state your name for the record. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is a reading of the January 25th, February 3rd, and February 4th City Council minutes. 4 is a motion appointing Tony Pelchat to the Building and Housing Code Board. 5 are resolutions authorizing or approving the application of U.S. DOT's Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation Program grant for the Bacon Creek Conduit Relocation Project. 6 is a resolution amending the position classification manual by approving an updated job description for the position of city manager.
Mayor, this is one of our initial steps that we're taking in the process of looking and recruiting for a new city manager. And so we're looking at the updated job description. I thought that was a good job that's been done to make those amendments and those revisions.
7 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution authorizing execution of the Traffic Safety Improvement Program funding IDOT agreement for the Dace Avenue, Leach Avenue 3-lane conversion project. B is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Barcon for the Marina Dredging Project. C is a resolution approving a contract with Hebert Construction for the demolition of 615 and 625 Douglas Street project. 8 is an actions relating to property. A and B are resolutions authorizing a release of real estate mortgage with Cherry Ridge under the Home Investment Partnership Program for properties at 800 Riverview Drive, South Sioux City, Nebraska. 9 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Dakota Supply for hydrants for the Utilities Field Office. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Armor Equipment for a truck-mounted high-pressure sewer cleaner. 10 are applications for alcohol license. 11 are boards and commissions and committee minutes. I want to go back to B, I'm sorry. This has got to be where we just pick what we want and we can't spec it so we get more than one bid? When you're
Which one are you
spending-
talking about, Mayor?
Huh?
9B.
9B, yeah, 9B.
That was through the, it says purchasing cooperative for the purchase of a new jet truck. 9B. Isn't that's what,
The armor equipment, the sewer truck?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I talked with Brad and the utilities department on their pressure or sewer cleaner. So we actually did have 2 units demoed, one from McQueen and one from Armor. They liked the way that the Armor machine was set up better, or set up. They both had essentially the same functions. They just felt that this one was more operator-friendly than the other.
May I have your name for the record?
Jeff Dedeker, Fleet Manager.
And do you know, or do we know before this and before it gets awarded or bid, I mean, are the prices fairly comparable or
So
do
I
we
did
know
not,
that?
I did not see the quote for the McQueen piece of equipment. I did see the quote for this prior. I did request them to get the warranty information before we went ahead with this. So this quote is actually the second quote, including the warranty information that the first one did not have.
So when it's sole source or whatever, Mr. Purchasing Agent, does that mean the price was published ahead of time?
Who is purchasing manager. Brad, I believe, went through on his own on this. They did not go through purchasing to bid it out. I believe he did use the Sourcewell pricing agreement, which Sourcewell, there's a lot of big equipment that they can go ahead, they get the pricing on that, and I believe, I don't know, he worked with Jeff on that, but Brad did all the legwork on it, as researching it and determining which product to get.
So Sourcewell does, it's a government contract entity, I suppose. They pre-bid all the equipment out beforehand, and I guess the idea of it is to get all your bids beforehand so you can kind of alleviate the long drawn-out bid process when you need to replace equipment.
Yeah, I get all that, but did the other one have, it'd be nice if you're doing this and you had 2, it would at least be nice to know that it's in the realm of reasonability. I just don't see that that's asking too much. I don't know why we can't get that kind of information.
I know Brad's out this week. I mean, we could ask him to get the information when he's back.
All right, 10's applications for alcohol license, 11 boards, commission, and committee minutes. Review the list, see if you have any questions. This concludes the consent agenda. Are we voting electronically?
Mayor, before that though, do we want it
No,
to
I'm
for
not gonna,
9B
but I don't
a
know.
week?
I don't understand why we don't have that information. It just would make it a lot more comfortable. I mean, if the other one's $50,000 lower, you'd wonder why we wouldn't have at least considered it, that's all.
Or it'd be I guess it'd be a 2-week delay. Is that going to be a
No,
problem?
we're not gonna delay it, that's fine. We'll get the information. Passes 5-0. 12 is a motion appointing one of the following two applicants to Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Applicants are Tim Seaman, reapplicant, and Aaron Whitmer. Somebody want to move one of those?
Make a motion to appoint Tim Seaman.
Is there a
Well,
Second?
And I just wanted to speak about this too, because this is something I've thought a lot about. Obviously, we take all these appointments very seriously and think about them, and it's difficult when you have multiple good applicants and only one opening. I was a little disappointed in myself because I had meant to call Tim earlier today or even last night, but I didn't get an opportunity with things that were going on and work got busy. But I was just gonna call him and see what his feeling and thoughts were, because I know that Tim currently serves on other boards and commissions for the city as a representative. And I think he's went above and beyond continuing to serve and serve in various capacities. And I really appreciate his effort in doing that. However, with that being said, he still is representing in other capacities on behalf of citizens in the community and does a good job, such as on the sports commission. And I thought it would be a really great opportunity to get someone new that has not served on any city board or commission, to my knowledge, and seemed like he had a vast knowledge of especially soccer specifically in the soccer realm, which is something that I think our Parks and our Parks Commission, and that advisory board really could use, especially now that we've taken over the Riverside Fields and are managing that contract. So I thought that Aaron would provide much valuable insight, even though obviously I respect Tim's service. He's served that, some time on that, and I thought that would be great as well. But I just thought Aaron, at this point in time, it'd be nice to get someone new into the mix that's not used to or hasn't had the opportunity to serve the city yet. So I just wanted to at least voice why I'm voting, I guess, the way I am.
Passes 4-1. Mr. Waters votes no. Recommendations of Planning and Zoning. 13 is an ordinance rezoning 4006 Morningside Avenue. The petitioners, Mohammed Sihad. P and Z recommends approval. First consideration was approved on February 3rd, 2025. I'll need a motion.
So moved.
Anyone to be heard? Okay. It passes 3-2. Moore votes no, and I abstained. 14 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Manor Circle paving project. I'll move that.
Just so you guys know,
Second.
it will come back for 1/3 and final reading then in 2 weeks. Just in case you weren't aware, I wanted to at least vocalize that it has 1/3 last reading. And so if I were you might want to be present for that one as well, in case there are any questions, concerns, or any other members of the public. At least you can speak to it from your business standpoint, but just so you know, so the second reading pass and it will go to the third.
And we don't have a meeting next week, so that's why it's 2 weeks.
Correct. No problem. Sorry, Mayor, I didn't mean to cut you.
That's all right. Was there a second? The public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Oh. Manor Circle?
Excuse me?
You
Oh,
want-
no, sorry.
Okay,
Oh, that
yeah,
was
Manor
public
Circle.
comments.
We're getting close.
Passes 5-0. 15 is a hearing and resolution approving the proposal to grant a temporary easement of the portion of Cleveland Street adjacent to 4544 Floyd Boulevard. The petitioners Kyle and Juanita Evans. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 16 is a resolution authorizing a letter of understanding, a real estate mortgage promissory note, and first right of refusal with the Siouxland Initiative for land located on Allison Avenue. I'll move that.
Second. Would you make sure that we have liability insurance coverage on this as a mortgagee?
Yes.
Okay. It's probably written in the mortgage,
Yes.
that requirement. Because this is closing, what, on the 24th of February? Yes. Is this? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Passes 5-0. Now citizen concerns.
There you go.
Good evening, council and mayor. My name is Scott Mann. 2614 Douglas Street. Coming here this evening to talk about a property that's called the Ida Apartment Building at 1901 Pierce Street. I purchased the property last year in April, and with the full intention to restore the property. It did have a fire on the roof, which basically caused pretty significant damage. I purchased the property, went to the building department, and asked them what steps do I need to do. Mr. Bullock laid out some requirements that I would have to follow through before he would bring it to council. The property was at that time under a demolition list or order, and so in order for Mr. Bullock to bring it to council to remove it from that and permit me to do repairs and give me a building permit, I needed to satisfy some requirements. I spent the first 3 or 4 months cleaning the property up, cleaning out. When the fire happened, all the tenants had to leave, so all their property was still in there. And then, of course, there was, I think it was probably 1.5 years of damage from rain and the elements from the time of the fire to when I purchased the property. So I cleaned the property up and then worked on satisfying the requirements for Mr. Bullock. During that time, in first week of October this year, I went to Florida to work on some hurricane damage, and that I'm actually still there. But from what I learned is that the property was brought to council to proceed with the demolition bids and get it removed. I was unaware of that at the time. I was still working on getting the engineering for the roof, which was one of the main requirements Mr. Bullock asked me. The beginning of this year, my engineer finally finished the engineering. He went to present it to Mr. Bullock, and Mr. Bullock would not accept it because the property was already out for a bid for demolition. So basically, I'm here asking for the council's help. I'd like to bring this property back to life. I have 10 years of experience of restoring red tags and many other properties in the city. 100% success, everything's beautiful. I have the resources and the commitment to do it. I just need the permission to do so. So I'm willing to satisfy whatever requirements the council or Mr. Bullock has, and that's why I'm here tonight. I'd like to get it removed from the demolition list, bid, whatever state it's in now, and be allowed to do work on the property. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars to the local economy and to the local contractors. I got contracting for, plumbing, heating, electrical, local companies here to do all that. So that's where I'm at. I'm ready to go. So
Is it Is that something, Mr. Padmore, you could coordinate with Daryl Bullock?
Yeah, I think
Daryl, do you
Daryl
want to
can
come on up?
outline what those requirements.
Daryl's here. I'm sorry, I didn't see you,
Right now.
Daryl.
I think they're the same as what I sent to you, is what
Good
you
afternoon.
provided to me that needed to be done yet formally. So he'd go over it again for the rest of council.
Did you send me a reply, an email? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't receive it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, probably went to my junk mail. So,
Just to clear a couple things up for council, there was no repeat of coming back to council. It was the original council order for demolition that we were eventually moving forward on after I sent Mr. Mann a certified mail that was signed for by a front office person in his address building, and also a non-certified letter both, and then posting on the property as well. This many months moving past from his initial visit with city council spurred that to move forward with that. And at this point, we have an asbestos survey report being done, and that's all at this point that we have. Never told him that he could not do this project. We just have the requirements, as we hold everybody accountable for, in submitting those. The only submittal that we've received from Mr. Mann at this point is a list that just says electrical, just lists each one. There's no actual estimates from contractors showing that they're going to bring it up to the current building code, which is what is required. All of those things need to take place, nor has there been any approval from zoning at this point that it's still going to meet the requirements. This building pretty much fills the entire parcel, which would not allow for any off-street parking whatsoever.
my intention is to try to provide off-street parking with possibly purchasing a property close. There are a couple of empty lots, you know, a couple 100 feet away from it. So I have tried getting a hold of those owners to see if I could purchase those lots. So if that's going to be a requirement, I will do whatever I can. I think the IDA is a beautiful building. I used to manage it for many years. I think it's a terrible shame if, you know, it would be demolished because it's a piece of Sioux City's history. When I remodel properties, I bring them up to 2025 code, everything beautiful. This is not going to be low-income housing. It's going to be needed housing. And again, my intention is to do it and have it done this year, you know, as fast as I can get it done.
How long will it take you to get these professional quotes from electrical, mechanical, plumbing, structural, fire sprinkler work? This is the email that I sent you.
I have all of
that need
those.
to be done.
I don't understand why Mr. Bullock's saying that. I thought that I sent them to him. I don't want to say that I didn't, now that he says
That
he
have
hasn't received
been
them.
put together by professionals
Oh,
in
yes.
those
Oh,
industries?
yes, many months ago. I can give you the name of the companies that did it, too.
Okay.
So, yes, they're all local companies. I had 2 or 3 bids go out for every part of it, plumbing.
I don't think he's received those. I really.
All I've received is one sheet that lists everyone out.
Okay, well, I have all of those.
Starting to worry about your email, man.
Yeah.
That is
But I have a
concerning because,
question before you go any further. I thought we were going to address this parking in these old buildings and say, there's no way you can furnish it once in a while, and rather than lose the
Yes.
building, I
Yes,
thought
we did discuss that.
that's what I thought.
Chris Madsen Planning. We did address that, so the property as it's currently zoned would not be allowed to reestablish the number of units because of how much damage. If the property is rezoned to urban residential, it would be legal conforming and zoning could sign off on the building permit.
Right.
So we just have to have that rezoning application come.
If you understand what they're saying, then you don't have to have parking.
yes, but just to, so it's known, I managed the property for many years, and there was never a problem with not adequate parking. You know, there was not complaints and
Well, that's what I'm
as far as I
saying.
know.
You just have to rezone it is all to
Okay.
get parking required.
Correct.
Right.
Okay,
We're just saying it's not gonna be
Right.
required.
sure,
But you
If
still
I-
got to go through the process.
Correct.
yes.
And if I were you, I mean, I think it would still behoove you to see about maybe those properties adjacent or if you
Absolutely. It
could.
just so happened the property next to mine was the old veterinarian.
Yeah.
And that sold like a week before I came here. And so the sign was still there for sale. I'm like, perfect, I'm buying that sucker. And they said, oh, it just sold to somebody else. So I'm working on something else, so.
Well,
Well,
that
and
would be
I-
a bonus if you could get that.
Exactly, because I think there are a number of people that don't necessarily have a vehicle,
Right.
use public transportation or use other means. So I'm not as worried. I mean, I think some parking is definitely probably needed, but
Sure.
one for each unit, maybe not. But I do think if you can get hard copies of all those bids to Daryl and work with his department, he's more than willing. He just needs to be able to see those things. So if you can assure us of that,
I believe I could have those all by tomorrow.
And what about a bond?
Yep, you got to have your bond.
That was what I came to
was-
the city council several months ago about was, if Mr. Scott might remember, Mr. Bullock asked for a $100,000 bond, and I stated there's a $70-something thousand insurance check that was on hold for the property in case it was demolished or needed it. And that was to the state, or he might tell me.
But do we have possession of those funds?
No, we don't. We don't have possession of them, nor would it cover the cost of demolition if it came to that.
Right.
No,
So
we
we
understand that, but you still have access to it.
My last conversation with them, there was still some access. They had some hesitation whether that was going to be able to be covered because of the duration it's taken so long. The representative's name was Cindy Speed, and she's no longer with the insurance company, so we've had to go through some other channels to try to see if we can't reenact that. But again, even with a $100,000 bond over and above the insurance, that still would be pushing whether or not would cover
But that would only be
demolition.
170,000 all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just get your bond, and then we'll use that 70,000 if it's able to be put towards
Not
that.
easy
Well,
to get
the
100,000.
request that I had made is if there was a $73,000 money set aside for the demolition, I would provide the difference. Because I want to, again, it's going to be several $100,000 of repairs into the property. If the building's demolished, it's going to cost the city hundreds of thousands.
you don't
right?
want to
Some
tie
cities-
up all the capital.
And of course, I mean, I'm a businessman. That's what I'm doing, building properties in other places. And I came back to Sioux City because that property was available and would like to build more. You know, I mentioned to several people in the city, you know, I'd like to build apartment buildings, you know, like needed housing, basically. Nice, brand new, beautiful stuff. Everything that I do is beautiful. I just finished a 100-room hotel in California, La Quinta, beautiful as can be. That's how I do it. I don't do anything, everything's way above standard. So that's what my intention is for this property also. So,
Well, it sounds like you got about 2 weeks because we don't have a meeting to get with Daryl and get him satisfied. And we'll bring this back up one way or another, put it on the
Sure.
agenda in 2 weeks and we'll see.
Yeah, we
where
get
we're at.
all the information in place. I'll get a request for council action at that time.
Pack it together.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks.
get to work on it because we won't meet next week, so we can't do it then. Go ahead.
My name is Robin Shiro. I live at 311 East Washington Street in Elk Point. First, I want to tell you all I appreciate everything you do. As I stated before, I'm a previous county commissioner, and so I appreciate all the things that you do and provide to the city of Sioux City. I wanted to make you aware of some crimes that are occurring in our communities. I tried to turn these terrorists/criminals into the Sioux City Chief of Police 3 times now, but he never returned my message that I left him with the front office staff, even when one of them included turning in the murderers of the 33-year Union County Sheriff, Dan Limoges. Therefore, I'm turning in a document describing these crimes to you with hopes that the Sioux City Chief of Police will respond, since, as I understand it, the Chief of Police serves at the pleasure of the mayor and the city council. These terrorists, so to speak, have breached Homeland Security. They committed human trafficking, racketeering, murder, kidnapping, torture, grand larceny, forgery, fraud, and many other crimes in our area. Again, I want to thank you for your time and consideration and for all that you do for the city of Sioux City. I only have one copy, but hope that you will
Give
all
it to
be able to
Mr. Badmore,
see it.
because the police chief actually serves at his pleasure, not ours. Okay, anyone else to be heard? Matthew?
Everybody go home, wash your hands, stay healthy. That's it.
Julie?
I wanted to bring up, just circle back to one of the items on the consent agenda, and it was number 5, and it was the DOT resolution that approved the city applying for the resilient, transformative, efficient, and cost-saving transportation, which is a PROTECT grant. We're applying for more than $33 million to help us pay for our conduit that is under the ground on Gordon Drive. This is going to all be done at the same time or just before the Gordon Drive viaduct program. It's not an option, it's required that we do it. It's aging infrastructure, and I just want to commend staff for going for the big dollars because it is a huge, huge infrastructure project. Again, $33 million is what's been applied for. Gordon, when will we find out about this? Next summer? Late fall?
Gordon Fair, city engineer. I believe it will be later this year.
Later
I
this
think
year?
it's like August or something, wasn't it? So I think I read that.
Yeah, I think it was August. It was in the summertime, late summer. So these kinds of grant applications are enormous. They're very complex to complete. We often get a third party to help us with these that are expert in applying for them. But we need to land some dollars to help us with this aging infrastructure so that we don't have to tax our citizens for it. So I just want to commend staff. I just want to let everybody know this is too big to let kind of go under the radar without folks knowing that $33 million is out there and we're going to try to go after it. That's all I have for today.
Okay, Alex,
Nothing, Mayor.
are you feeling okay today?
Thanks.
All right. Dan,
Nothing further, Mayor.
move we adjourn.
Second.
Moore,
Thank you. Aye.
O'Kane,
Aye.
Shaner,
Aye.
Thanks,
Scott.
Brent.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.